Well, welcome to Supervision. My name is Robert. I'm an LPC supervisor here in the state of Texas, and I am making videos for my LPC associates. If you are one of them, I have probably asked you to watch this video, and then we'll talk about it. I have many others, and I will be producing more as time goes by. If you are not one of my LPC associates, then hopefully this video series will help you. And feel free to make comments, get in touch with me if you like. I love feedback, so be more than happy to hear what you have to say. This time we are looking at ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experience Study. And this is an issue that as a counselor, if you're going to be doing anything with anyone, you need to be aware of this study that was performed. Having said that, let's go ahead and dive in. So, the name of the study was the ACE study, Adverse Childhood Experience. It was completed by the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, in conjunction with Kaiser Permanente. This was done in 1995 until 1997, and the last I heard, there has been several other repeats in other parts of the country to see if the information is remaining accurate, and so far it has been extremely accurate. This has a total of 17,337 primary care recipients that was from the state of California. So great study, and we're going to be looking at a little more detail here. Okay, some of the study questionnaires, I'm going to try to post these in where you can get access to them and look at the information yourself. These were the actual studies that they used originally. There was a family health history survey as well as a health appraisal survey. You'll notice that there was one for males and females. They did have some different aspects that they looked at very clearly. So if you get a chance to look at those, they're lengthy. They're really long study questionnaires, and whoever created those had to do a lot of number crunching on the SPSS to make sense of it. Okay, one of the things we have to do, just as Voltaire said, is we got to define terms. The CDC did a really good job of this in defining how they wanted to express different aspects. In this case, abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. As you read through those, you're going to notice there's some unique qualities to them. Emotional abuse. A parent, step-parent, or adult living in your home swore at you, insulted you, put you down, acted in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt. Fascinating. The definitions that they have created in here are not as clean as we would expect, and to make it simple. You want to be able to, when you're working with your clients, you're going to want to ask them these questions in very similar ways to let them understand emotional abuse is a whole lot more than what we might think. It encompasses a lot of aspects. Physical abuse, a parent, step-parent, or adult living in your home pushed, grabbed, slapped, threw something at you, or hit you so hard that you had marks and were injured. See, that's kind of a unique definition, okay? Physical abuse doesn't have to be getting hit with a fist or overly spanked. It can be as simple as being pushed, bumped, forced out of the way, okay? Grabbed violently, or just grabbed and moved around. Physical abuse is in the eye of the receiver, not the giver. We need to remember that. Sexual abuse. An adult, relative, family friend, or stranger who was at least 5 years older than you touched, fondled your body in a sexual way, made you touch his or her body in a sexual way, attempted to have any type of sexual intercourse with you. I think we need to also identify and recognize this includes oral as well as other forms of sex. Okay? Playing with the word usage of how we define sex here is kind of important. It needs to be very broad definition. Neglect, emotional and physical neglect. Take a moment, pause the video if you need to, read over these. This is some fascinating definitions, and it's not always what we'd expect. When you're talking to your client and you're asking them these things, if you're dealing with a child, you might want to do it in private when the parent isn't available to them, because they'll be able to open up hopefully a little bit more. One of the things you need to remember as you're talking to your juvenile and adolescent clients, they may have been told, don't talk about this stuff. Making them feel comfortable and safe with you while you discuss these terms and allowing them the time to open up about them, very important. That's a part of the therapeutic alliance development. It's a part of safety development. It's a part of letting them understand you're a safe person to open up to. This is, in fact, a trauma-informed care approach. This is where we got the idea of trauma-informed care in the first place. So pause and read over those. Household challenges. Now, a lot of times we don't take into account that the household challenge, where they live, what they're going through, can also be very traumatic to a young person. Watching domestic violence, for example, a mother being beaten, kicked, stabbed, can be very damaging to a child. It's amazing how many of these I have seen in my private practice. Substance abuse in the household, very different than just substance use. Okay, there has to be abuse. Just because a family member, let's say a father or mother, has a glass of wine every evening, that can be culturally accepted. Okay, that doesn't make it abusive. So we want to be careful on how we define that one. Mental illness in the household. A lot of families are experiencing mental illness in their households nowadays, and we want to be cautious with that one. Okay, recognizing there is a component there that can be very difficult, but just having someone in the house that has some anxiety doesn't mean it's going to be traumatic. So you want to investigate that a little bit, ask a few more questions. Separation and divorce of a parent, obvious. Incarceration of a family member, that one can really be effective on a child's well-being and their stability. So some of the demographics of the ACE study, really kind of amazing. There was 54% female, 46% male, but look at those numbers. 9,367 females were involved. 7,970 males were involved. These are amazing sets of numbers. It gave generalizability a lot of strength here. The statistical strength was off the charts. Ethnicity-wise, 74, almost 75% was white, 11% Hispanic, almost 5% black, Asian at 7%, and other not fitting into those basic categories at just over 2%. Also recognizing the age of the ACE study. These were, got to remember, primary care patients going in to see a GP, general practitioner. Age group wise, kind of fascinating. 60 and over, there was almost half of them above the age of 60, but they were talking about their childhoods. That's something we need to remember, what was going on here. So they were looking at kind of in a way, almost a longitudinal type study, having that many people involved with that age bracket. Okay, some of these prevalences, now I will admit I completely took this from the CDC website, just snipped it right out and threw it in here. Why recreate the wheel? This is the best imagery that I've seen yet for this. So, all right, the category of men, women, and total, we've already covered those numbers, but look at the percentages. Emotional abuse, 13.1% of women. That's pretty high. Physical abuse, 27% of women, almost 30% of males are abused in that way. Sexual abuse, 24.7%. That's 1/4, 1 out of 4 women experienced sexual abuse growing up. Look at the males, 16%. Those are not amazing numbers, guys. Those are really high, okay? Household issues, domestic violence cases, 13.7% of women have observed their mother being treated violently, okay? Substance abuse, 29.5 and 23.8. Mental illness, there again, almost 1/4. Divorce, 1/4. Incarceration, 5%. Guys, these are really big numbers when we take into account what we're dealing with in our profession of helping people with their own issues. Following a trauma-informed care idea really means we have to start looking back at these things, these numbers here that are really, they're amazing. Okay, so how many different or total experiences of adverse childhood experiences did they have? The percentage-wise, 0%. That's actually really good. Okay, for 0 experiences, 34% of the respondents that were women had 0 ACE issues. Kind of amazing. But on the flip side, let's look at the 4 or more experiences. So that means possibly 4 or more sexual abuse experiences, 4 or more combination of emotional, physical, sexual abuse. Each one of those by itself can be really damaging and cause someone to come to us for counseling later on. We have to recognize these numbers are very impressive numbers. How big is the problem? Well, let's look at that one. ACEs are so common, 61% of adults surveyed across 25 states, that's half of the country, reported they experienced at least one type of adverse childhood experience before the age of 18. 1 in 6 report that they've had more than 4 types of adverse childhood experience. That's amazing. 1 in 6 have had more than 4 of those in their lifetime before the age of 18. What are the health costs? 1.9 million heart disease cases, 21 million cases of depression can be related to these issues, these numbers. Some kids are at higher risk than others. Racial, ethnic, minority groups, financial. If you just do a simple Google search of what is out there, what is causing all of them to come see us, a lot of it comes to being in a category. And it's not just ethnical minority. It can be financial minority. It can be those that are disenfranchised, that are on the edge of existence already. Okay. Some questionnaires you have access to. These are all pretty much identical, 10-point kind of questions, or 10 elements of looking at ACE aspects. There's another site there. I'm going to try to get these posted on the YouTube page so you can go straight to those and put those links in. But these are also things that you can use. They do not require any special training. You just simply have them answer the questions, you add up the number of yeses, and boom, you're done. You got your ACE score. Another site you really want to go look at is, of course, the CDC website on violence prevention. Okay, here are some links that I'll be sharing. I do want to point out these are videos that are within YouTube. Some of these are extremely difficult to watch, specifically with regards to, let's see if I'm, these ones right here, the victim stories. There's 2 of them that I put in there. I use those, both of them, extensively in my practice with my adolescents that I work with. The short story there on sexual abuse, that's actually a cartoon, extremely well done, and it is something that people don't expect to be talking about. Guys, as counselors, you need to be prepared to discuss extremely difficult topics with your clients. I'm going to suggest that you watch all of these. These are great videos. If you yourself have experience with one of the adverse childhood experiences, if you have more than one, definitely seek out your own assistance. Get your own counseling. It's one of the things as a counselor we are instructed to do in school. And as a supervisor, I am more than encouraging of get your own help. Okay? So if you're one of my associates and we're talking and working on this stuff, be open about it. It's nothing to be ashamed about. We need to talk about these things to help you further your ability to help others. So like I said, I'm going to post these in the YouTube connections there, so you'll be able to go straight to those links. Okay guys, this is it for this one, for this supervision session. If I have assigned you to watch this one, then please do so, and be more than happy to talk to you about it afterwards. But here again, the ACEs study, the adverse childhood experiences, what has led us to following a trauma-informed care concept. Following that idea, recognizing how prevalent abuse is in our society, how much is going on in the homes across our country, really will help to change how you do your counseling and how you perceive your client. So until we see each other next time, watch the video, check out the links, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you if you have any other questions or concerns. If you're not one of my associates, then feel free to enjoy this one and use those links. There's some really good stuff out there. Feel free to look up more information. Until I see you guys face to face for our sessions, take care. Keep doing what you're doing, and remember to be ethical and use a trauma-informed perspective. You'd be amazed what it does for your counseling.